Hi there, my name is Victor Estima. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-jitsu black belt. I've been training for about 15 years. I live in Nottingham in the UK, but I was born in Brazil, but I moved to the UK when I was 19, so that's where I made my home for the last 10 years. And I'm here at Abu Dhabi Pro, having a great fun over here. I was just an up-and-coming blue belt when my brother moved to the UK. Just to attempt a new life, he went there with the idea to make some money and go back home, but he didn't realize that Jiu-Jitsu was going to play a big part in the UK. And as he arrived, Jiu-Jitsu was very popular, like in a way, but people loved it, but then there was no instructors, not enough people training Jiu-Jitsu or teachers. So he got together with Mauricio Gomes, which is Roger Gracie's father. And he said, no, if you don't need to go work as a bouncer or whatever. You're just gonna, go and do some jiu-jitsu. There's a place that we can give you to teach. And so he went, and from that on, he's created a base, and it was in Birmingham already. And then he started to grow his little team, and then he got to a point that he needed help. And then from that moment that he was getting established, I was coming up to the ranks. I just became silver medalist in the blue belt division, the World Championships. And then I got a great result. So then I got my purple belt, and then I became like in a level to be able to instruct. And at the same time, I finished high school, and I was in a moment that maybe I was just going to travel, see around, and I went to the UK. And I spent about a year and a half going backwards and forwards, just as holidays, getting to know the area, learning to speak the language and stuff. And that was when I realized I really wanted to live from Jiu-Jitsu. And then on this year and a half, I grew up to the ranks again, so I was already brown belt, going towards a black. But I went back to Brazil, won some championships, got my black belt, applied for my working visa, went to the UK. And then I, had this dream because I saw the very beginning of Jiu-Jitsu in the UK, and I felt like I was becoming part of the development of that. So, and then since I arrived like in 2004 to now, Jiu-Jitsu was nothing, and now Jiu-Jitsu is one of the biggest stages of Jiu-Jitsu in Europe. And that's when we moved there, my brother, and then many others followed up. And that's how everything really started. My brother brought me over and gave me the support that I needed to start. And we worked really hard. There was nothing down there, and then we had to get used to the language, the weather, the culture, and making our way there. But eventually, I feel very established in the UK. I feel like it's my home. I was actually in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro last week, and I was actually homesick. As you can probably tell, I went to my own country and I wanted to go back home. So that's pretty much how everything started. Yeah, my brother, he always been a person who inspired me and who motivated me to go further. He's almost 5 years older than me, and therefore he had achieved many results before I started to reach my moment to reach good results as well. And we played in his first stage. He was too old for me, too small for him. I was just like a little kid. But as I grew older a little bit, I moved to the UK. I was getting a bit more stronger, and then we started to play a lot. So I was always been a very big fan of my brother. So everything he did, I wanted to do like him, and I was learning everything that he did. I was his dummy for all the privates he ever taught, all the seminars I've ever been. I was there, working 7 days a week, going to train every day, hours a day with him. So we are very close, me and my brother. Because we never got into a position that we actually competing with each other a lot. It was more the case that I'm the younger brother with a big distance, who has a lot of respect for his accomplishment, and I take him as somebody who helped me get where I am. So I always gave him the respect, even though we train hard and push each other. Nowadays it's much different, but I have a lot of respect for him, and then he's the one who really pushed me to the ranks. And his mentality towards the training, his technique, his ideas, he guided my way up, because obviously coming from Recife in Brazil, and we didn't have that much of access to techniques, innovations. My teacher is a great teacher, but we were very stuck to the mentality that we had there. And we needed to go out where the mecca of jiu-jitsu was, like Rio de Janeiro. And then later, my brother had access. He began the accesses of the connections, He went to Renzo Gracie's and then Roger Gracie, and they all had like a excellent jiu-jitsu. So he learned a lot from them, and he passed on to me, and we worked really hard at it. And I think that's the major relationship that we have. You know, we were, when we moved to the UK, we started to invest a lot on the teaching. So we spread a very big network of people, students, like made students everywhere, and where nowadays we have a big network of professors and with their own schools. And then that's one of the things that we are very passionate about, is to teach and share. And we believe that jiu-jitsu can, can make people's lives better, you know. And then at the beginning, I was helping my brother, as I said, help him out in his school so he can continue to fight his ADCCs and train. I was a person, his right hand, to take care of his school. And then eventually, when I reached to a point, like when I started to desire having my own school, so then I went to a different city and started to develop my own school apart from my brother. And then that's when we started to, grow. And I started to mature myself, because obviously if you're always behind the wings of your brother, you always become your brother, my Braulio's brother. And then when I made my way and I made my own ground, I was developed my own students and learning with my own experiences, my own mistakes, and it made me mature a lot. And I started to develop a great work that I believe we're doing in Nottingham. We have a lot of good students. For example, we have like a Vanessa English. She's like a world champion, purple belt. She cleared the way. She's done amazing. She's a brown belt now, winning the European Championships twice in a row, going for her world title again. She's fighting the big girls. The other day, she fought the current champion on the first fight. She lost it, but she fought really well. I'm really proud of her. And we have Oliver Lovell. We've got like Sean Coates, third place in the World Championships. Oliver Lovell is like one of the best in the UK in his weight. That is Jamie Paxman. I've got a lot of guys coming up as purple belts, getting really tough to come up in the ranks. And my brother also have some many amazing guys. I have a black belt as well. Gareth Neal is always competing. He's one of the best British black belts at the moment in the medium heavy division. My brother has amazing students. My brother also produces amazing instructors. Not necessarily my brother has a lot of high-level competitors from Birmingham, but he made a lot of great instructors. That's one thing that is quite special. You don't just made a fighter, you made instructors with ideas, concepts, with the mentality of teaching that we have. We managed to build that, and I'm still building mine because my brother has more time on a structure. And so my brother also made world champion like Luke Costello, Christopher Bowie is fighting alongside with us now. So we built some great talents. I think we still a lot of talents to come from the work that we've been doing. And but not only us now, our students are growing their own schools, and they are making their own champions. I think that we are trying to push our guys to an international level, world-class level, which takes time, of course. But in a European level, we are making many high-level guys, many gold medals in the Europeans. And so I think that there's a lot to come from the UK, from our students. I have a lot of hopes. I'll tell you something very interesting. I used to be a guy who never really believed that I could tap in a footlock. In my career, people attacked my foot. In training, people attacked my foot. Never really tapped. I didn't feel the danger, the hurt, until one day I fought this guy called Abihian in a Real Open in 2009. And the guy took my foot in the final, and he ripped my foot off. And I was like, oh my God. I felt my foot was going to break, and then I tapped. And I never felt that before. So I realized that with enough force, enough pressure, I would be able to make people tap as well. So I started to train the idea. And that was in 2009. And I started to realize, noticing feet around me. I want to get people's feet. So I was training. I started to, when you're doing vertigars, the feet is flying everywhere. And I started to really notice that. And then when my brother was training, preparing for ADCC 2009, where he did his best performance, he won double gold there. I was helping him to prepare. I wasn't fighting, but I was training hard. And then I was training with him. He was amazing, smashing me all over. But then I started to create a strategy made it a little difficult for him. And then I started to see his feet flying around me. And then I took a foot and stuck in my belly, and I popped his foot. And I didn't even realize how quickly he was and how powerful he was. He had to scream to stop. I was like, whoa, that's supposed to be a good move. I don't know what I did really, but it worked. So through the sparring again, and the same day, second round, I did it again. I was like, with my belly, I got it again. He didn't even notice. I started to really click into the idea. I was like, oh man, that's a good move. He screamed again, didn't even see coming. And I was like, and I used my belly again. I was like, so I think if I stuck things in my belly and people's feet and I started pulling up, it's gonna work. And then we sat down, me and my brother, we put some pros and cons, started to adjust the idea, and then we started to fine tune it. And then I showed my brother what I was doing. And then, because I already kind of worked naturally. It just happened. And I was like, showed him, and we perfected a little. And he went to DCC and he fought Lovato in the second or quarterfinal, something like that. And he tapped him in about 15 seconds with a big scream, the foot completely off. Nobody knew. What was that? Everybody was noticing. What was that move? And my brother pointed to me after the win, and he pointed to me because I showed him the move. And I was so happy, so proud of him because, that's something me helping my brother at that time or just coming up. I was like in the moon. And then in 2009 came, and then I started to perfect that in training. I was getting a lot in training. I even heard a few partners without knowing, still controlling the technique. Until I went to, my brother only did that once. And then I developed myself, I felt the game, and then I went to the World Championships in Nogi. And then I finished every single one of my opponents with that footlock. And then previously in the competition as well, like in the gi, I pulled it off as well. So every competition I was getting one. And then I was like, oh man, this is working. I became world champion, and then I went to fight many other competitions, Pan Americans, Worlds, and I'm getting my first 2 fights, boom, boom, finished really quick, and finished with the same footlock. I was like, man, I'm really getting good at this thing. And then it started to grow the idea, and then I realized nobody ever did. Everybody asked me what it was. I had to tell them what it was, and there was a time as well that I was popping people's feet, almost getting them tapped, but the referees didn't even know I was attacking the foot because it doesn't look like it. So I lost several fights. Like one of them, I believe I lost by one advantage to Calazans in Europeans. I went to his foot twice. I managed to pop twice, I think. But it wasn't really, I didn't really hurt him. He defended really well. He did a great job of defending it. But it was an attack. So people didn't recognize the attack. I didn't get advantage. I ended up losing fights like this. So I was like, oh my God. So I had to kind of call the referees, hey, look at this move. And I showed the referees, all of them. Oh, look, this is a massive attack. You can't say that it's not an attack or not giving advantage. You got to give me advantage because I'm really getting to defend, especially if he rolls. And the referee, oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't know that. So it started to become the awareness. Until I came up with the idea to do with Budo videos, I did a DVD and an app called Estima Lock. And I called Estima Lock, and everybody was kind of called the Estima Foot Lock already. So I said, I'm going to try to brand it now. And then I launched the video, and since I did launch the video, I went to compete in the same weekend, and I got that foot lock again. Then everybody started to make a lot of big deals about the foot lock. And ever since, I started to, every competition, I get 1 or 2. Did this year, I did it at DCC, I did it at Panams. It's like one by one, every time it appears the foot, I take it. But it's not something I do only. It's on the take when I see it, I go for it. If it doesn't work, I go somewhere else. But it happens that people forget and leave the foot where they should. And then I just make my job, First of all, I have to give all the respect to Keenan. He's a fighter that I admire. I think he's in a great level, great talent. And I always wondered, I always wanted to fight him. I'd like to see myself how it would work against a guy like him, because he's very unorthodox and very different. And then I had in my head, Keenan does a lot of lapels, but I don't think he ever got done lapel on him. I think a lot of people they probably get a little bit afraid because he's so good in doing it. Maybe he might be really good in defending it. But I was really confident on my game on the lapel. So I said, I'm going to impose my game before him, and we'll apply the lapel game. And I know once I get out, he will be stuck because he doesn't get out just like this. So then he wouldn't be able to apply his. So I very quickly pulled guard and I closed guard on him, and I put him in really off positions. And while I was on the transitions of close guard to open, I was getting the lapels. And I felt very confident, and that was my strategy, to be able to slow him down, to pass, and find my moments to go into his side of his legs, to get probable attempts to sweeps, to score the advantage and points. So I knew he was a very tough guy. He's bigger than me as well, so I had to really play an important strategy. Not open up my game too much, keep nice and tight, but I was very confident on the lapel. He done some really good job attacking my pass. I defended, but I was very happy that I managed to be more offensive, because even though there was a one-to-one advantage, I believe that was more dominant in controlling the fight, and not only putting the lapel to just stalling people, but I was using the lapel to attack and try to sweep, and I was very offensive, I believe. Obviously, he's very well defended, and I didn't manage to accomplish every move, but I think I was trying really hard at all times. My fight with Leandro, that was felt very confident. I felt very good about it, and we've been having many wars together, and I have a lot of respect for him too, and he's a good friend of mine. But I went for it. I played the game. I bring it to my strength straight away. I used the lapels. I stopped him from attacking. He passes really well, and he's so smooth. I was able to, slow him down, and I was able to engage some opportunity. But at this fight, that was a strategy mistake, because I pulled guard with him. He went quickly to the top. He got the advantage. So I stayed behind, and I wasn't happy about it. And then he came to the top, and he's really good passing. So I started to use the lapels, and I started to catch up that advantage. So I didn't want to just sweep, because he sweeps well too. I didn't want to be wasting all of our energy to sweep and then be swept back with -1 advantage. I wanted to score the advantage to be equal, so I can maybe sweep, and if you go back down, I still can be equal but pressureful, And then that was the moment that I did that. I got the equalize, and then he came back to the top, but he started to do a good job of defending my lapels, and I couldn't create another opportunities. I almost did a few times. I thought that other movements would be counted as advantages, but it's very doubtful. So that was fair play. He did very good attempts to pass my guard. I defended, so he deserved the advantage that he's got. But I thought that if I maybe instead, because there was a moment that I swept him, and I could have just go to the top and get the 2 points. And then I'm now looking back, I felt like I should have gone to the top. It's less time, a 6-minute match only, so I'll be able to fight well enough on the top to remain with 2 points, even though he has had advantages ahead. But I was trying to create this strategy that I was a mistake I made in the past. So I fixed doing like this, but I was working well until he started to unwrap himself and try to pass my guard, and then he got this advantage. So I was a little frustrated that I didn't get the win. I've been trying to get this started for a while. It's been 4 finals in Abu Dhabi Pro. I always have a very hard bracket, and I'm, very happy with the overall performance, because I gave my all, I gave my best, and I don't feel no regrets, and that's the best feeling you can have. Even if the only thing is, I know I need to train more to fix the mistakes, to come back and try better, but I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna be, really putting down myself, because many people didn't manage to get as far as I did, and I was the one getting through, and I was, really happy with that. I honestly, I like to fight 6 minutes, because it allows me to really press my game, be dynamic the way you mentioned that I am. I like to fight dynamically, push the pressure, and I like the idea of 6 minutes, because people stall less. It's more fun to watch. It's fun to fight as well, because if you notice, there's not too much strategy. It's like getting first. And then the 10-minute rounds is a little bit longer, allow you to develop much more. The game can be changed. There's after the minute 6, when you get around 7, the last 3 minutes, that's when you see the wins really happening. Sometimes people wait until there's closer to the end where they can fire. So that shows that people really fight for only a period of time. 10 minutes is pretty long. But I think that's the way I've been fighting all my life. So I feel comfortable at it. I feel like that's normal for me. And when I look at it when I'm fighting at BJJF, I go for the 10-minute rounds. I never really think to go all the way to 10. I always want to finish early, because that's my style. And then touch the point about the submissions only game. That that I think the submission only is very tricky, because when they put no time and they expect a submission to happen, the fighters are too concerned to push for too long, because they eventually will get tired, and they worry that they won't be able to finish anymore or perform well. That's why you probably see a lot of drawings, like people drawing, because there's not enough pace. And if you put in yourself in that mentality, that is two really high-level fighters. They don't match up one good with one bad, with not so good. They put like two major athletes to fight each other. So they're always worrying about tapping out to the other. So they're very conservative, very hold back. So that's my good view. I think 6 minutes dynamic fights forward. But sometimes you don't see, the fight can change after 6 minutes. So 10 minutes is a good balance. 6 minutes is exciting. In 2015, that's the year I've been competing the most since a while, because as I have a school, I have a family, I have a little boy. So I have a lot of energy outside of jiu-jitsu to put on. And, but I separated this year to invest in my competition and train more than I ever did, compete more than I've ever did. And I've been showing more better results with that mentality. And my goals are to become world champion in a BJJF this year. In 2015, you know, I have 5 bronzes on that competition in the middleweight division, and I'm trying to break the taboo, you know, breaking the you know, when I go through and strike on that on that big competition. And the Abu Dhabi Pro is one of the ones that I've been preparing for to be the winner, because you know, as I've been trying so hard before. So I have these world championships coming up now, and I really hope to get into ADCC. I did the trials. I lost by points to Felipe Pena, who is the current world champion heavyweight. And I felt really good. You know, I finished 4 fights. I was very dominant. It just was a strategy mistake. I was fighting well with Felipe. But ADCC is very tricky, you know, to get into, because there is my teammates is already in every division. So there's Otávio Souza at 77, Romulo Barral at 88, and my brother at 99. So the DCC doesn't really put teammates in the same division, because they like people to really fight for it. But I made a good performance in the trials. I fought my teammate Felipe Pena. I proved them that it can be done. And so I'm hoping that they like my style and the way I fight, as I believe I did a good performance and overall. And then they get the invitation. But, you know, it's the bad thing is I didn't win the trial. I didn't guarantee my spot. So I have to wait and hope that I'll get an invitation. So, but I want to really fight the ADCC. And then if I don't fight the ADCC, I will probably be preparing with my brother. So I will definitely attempt the world no-gi, perhaps Pan American no-gi. So I believe I'll be very sharp in no-gi training with my brother. So I'll give that a go.